Greetings to Christ University, Bangalore. This is Saswati Day from St. Francis College for Women, Hyderabad, and the paper is titled Violation and Sustainability of Human Rights in the Wake of Ecological Crisis in Hungry Tide and Matsyavanti. We stand now where two roads diverge. The road we have long been travelling is a deceptively easy one, a smooth superhighway on which we progress with great speed, but at its end lies disaster. The other fork of the road, the one less travelled by, offers our only chance to reach a destination that assures the preservation of Earth. Unquote. Rachel Carson's words warn us against self-destruction and yet provide us hope at the end of the long tunnel. Environmental crisis is the imminent reality of our present world. The nature of this crisis is far from simple. This paper is an attempt to explore the critical dynamics between man and nature through selected text. Amitav Ghosh's The Hungry Tide and Sajita Marthil's Matsyavanti. While the present environmental condition possesses a threat to all, it is the marginalized who bear the brunt of it. The paper brings to focus the challenges of the subalterns of the Sundarban Delta and the sea in their respective context. It extends this discourse to the concerns of precariousness and precarity and violation of human rights post 9/11 scenario through the lens of post-colonialism and neocolonialism. As the paper attempts to analyze the voice and agency endowed to the human and non-human counterparts of the text, it takes support of the theories of eco-criticism. Finally, the paper seeks to critically examine the possibility of sustaining and preserving the ecosystem through changes and alternatives that we must incorporate to save ourselves. Al Gore observes in An Inconvenient Truth, "Your generation has grown up much more aware of the environmental problem than mine. You already understand that our relationship to nature is not a relationship of us and it. You know that we are all a part of the same ecosystem, that we are all in it together." Al Gore stresses on the environment and the involvement of human species as a whole, the ecosystem, and brings home the notion of precarity that has affected human species. Yet, as it is apparent through Matsyavanti and The Hungry Tide, not all go through the drudgery of life, intensified by environmental crisis equally. The precariousness of existence is suffered by the less powerful and marginalized. In Hungry Tide, the pseudo-concerns for tiger conservation ignores the basic human rights of poverty-stricken subalterns. Kusum's aspirations to dreams are crushed untimely, and she is killed in the Morig Chapi massacre. Her cry is emblematic of the loss of identity orchestrated by the state and society around her. Not many mourn her death. For the protagonist of Matsyavanti, the world of the well-fed, healthy, wealthy, upper middle class and caste is light years away. Standing alone in the stage, she has no one by her side. Both the texts uncannily echo Judith Butler's words in the context of 9/11 scenario of global warfare and divide. One way of posing the question of who we are in these times of war is by asking whose lives are considered valuable, whose lives are mourned and whose lives are considered ungrievable. An ungrievable life is one that cannot be mourned because it has never lived. That is, it has never been counted a life at all. Unquote. In the context of colonial and neo-colonial violence, Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak observes that the subaltern cannot speak. Ghosh's Hungry Tide, the first human settlement by one Mr. Hamilton, is a continuation of the colonial anthropocentric legacy of extending borders. Settlements continue, the Badabon Trust flourishes. It is at this point Ghosh problematizes the equilibrium by bringing in Kusum, a refugee who along with others shows courage to dream. Kusum and her people, in Spivak's words, are subalterns. Ghosh's novel scathingly emphasizes that in a world of precarity and precariousness, some lives are more important than the others. As Kusum voices, "Who are these people, I wondered, who love animals so much that they are willing to kill us for them?" The efforts of the conservation in the tide country seem to be half-hearted. The apathy of the government official is glaring. Amidst this flux, we have the figure of Fokir and Pia, who are genuinely concerned for nature, for humanity. Pia thinks aloud that these waters had once contained large number of dolphins, but the cetacean population has kind of disappeared. Yet Pia is upset when the tiger is killed by Fokir. Pia's concern for the dolphin and the tiger misses the vital point that no protection, however, is guaranteed to the island dweller. Ghosh, as Mansingh observes in his paper, puts us into a kind of an intellectual dilemma about whom to support, the delicate ecosystem or the helpless dwellers who kill the tiger as the last resort of protection. In Sajita Marthal's one-act play Matsyagandhi, we find the Araya widow express dissent against the oppression that she and the women of her community face on a daily basis. The foreign vessels drudge up Kadalamma's womb and the trawler boats tear open the bosom of the sea. The situation reflects precarity of our times as the seas and oceans are depleted by overfishing. But as the play continues, the news of the new harbour comes up. And this not only affects the environment but also denies employment to the local fishing communities, especially the women who are compelled to sell their bodies instead of fishes now. She faces oppression for belonging to a caste that is underrepresented, a class which is deprived, and at the same time she struggles against the patriarchal bias extended by the men of her own community. The puffed of males unabashedly indulge in power games, jeopardizing trade and economy against women fish vendors, leaving them impoverished. Her precariousness is ignored and silenced. No one reacts, and the play thus ends in a violent supplication. Let Kadalamma grow into a rage. Let her break up all those trawler boats and foreign vehicles. The relationship between man and nature is highly dynamic and delicate. Wordsworth's poetry takes us back to nature, reiterating the thought that man is a part of nature and sustainability of man is possible only when he learns to recognize and preserve this connection. The world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending the way we waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. In order to survive, man harnesses nature, and the advance of human civilization is anthropocentric. But as long as he knows to defend and differentiate between needs and wants, and responsibly intervenes, the possibility of sustenance is not far-fetched. This is in tune with Arne Nay's and Bill DeWall's philosophy of deep ecology. The storm at the river Matla kills Fokir, and in Matsyagandhi, the protagonist's husband never returns home. Yet the island dwellers and the Raya people share an umbilical cord with nature. This is beautifully perpetuated through folklore and rituals of Bon Bibi, the forest goddess, and Kadalamma, the mother goddess of the sea. Fokir's connection with the forest and the tide country is primordial. Bon Bibi was the one that saves people who are good at heart from the claws of the tiger, and Kadalamma used to protect her children. Beyond the idea of interpreting the elemental forces as superstitious, these myths can be perceived as ways that have disseminated the importance of interdependency in the ecosystem. Thus, saving the environment, saving ourselves in the process, implicates a deeper level of involvement at social, economic, and cultural front. Gender too plays a crucial role in this context. Nature perceived as the mother figure that continues to bring forth life and sustain it. However, as exploitation of nature and women continue, it is necessary to recognize that women play active roles against popular patriarchal discourse and connect with nature at a deeper level. Environmentalist Vandana Shiva's word seemed particularly poignant in this scene of rapid depletion of natural resources. We need the knowledge of how to care, how to share. That is the capacity we need more and more in future in the period of extraction. So women with their caring and sharing will be the teachers of how to be human in future. Unquote. Matsyagandhi ends with summoning the powerful elements of nature to destroy the forces of capitalism exploitation. Ghosh writes with a consciousness of newer responsibilities and offers alternative possibilities in a world ridden by politics, hegemony, and bureaucracy. Pia returns to Sundarban to raise funds for her project, which she names Fokir. She ensures sustenance for the human and non-human counterpart as well. Her survey of the Gangetic dolphins must continue. So should the education of Fokir and Moina's son. Empathy and genuine responsibility can perhaps make this place a better place to live in. In conclusion, it may be said that globalization has made the world an interlinked community. But as living species, we must be aware of the concerns and genuine interest not only in each other but also with those around us. Time and again, literature has mirrored the changes of politics and culture in society. With eco-criticism, literature is tangibly connected to life. Environmental crisis is universal and affects all. Thus, the human question is undeniable. Lifestyle changes must be made, but the environmentalist must recognize alternative viewpoints of race, class, gender, ethnicity of human race while dealing with the environmental crisis. To reiterate Rachel Carson, we cannot go on with short-term solutions to deal with our human problems. Approach must be ecologically holistic, thoughtful and sustainable. The world must be preserved and conserved for our posterity. Ancient lifestyles are perhaps no longer replicable in toto. However, their philosophies and wisdom can be an inspiration for the days to come. The words of Chief Seattle thus ring clear. The earth does not belong to man. Man belongs to earth. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand on it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. Thank you.